Hello and welcome to a presentation on how to download a list of image URLs using Node.js. I will be walking through some Node.js code that will make it easy to download a list of images when given the URL links to those images. The reason I am using Node.js is because it is JavaScript runtime, which allows me to achieve this task quickly without having to purchase a particular software for downloading images. I once had to do that years ago, and I used a software called Reget Pro for that task, but today I don't believe that tool exists. JavaScript has always been a de facto language for solving simple tasks like this. And so that is why I am approaching it in this way. And this is something that has been a progress in work for a number of years. I'm sure there are multiple different ways to achieve this with other languages, including Python and PHP and Java. So this is one approach to doing it using Node.js. Now, why would anybody want to extract a list of images from URLs? Well, it's because they want to efficiently be able to download that list of images without having to manually right-click and download each image link. If you have 1,000 image links, that will take a really long time to go through. So you can achieve, downloading a list of images using an automated process like what I'm about to show and get things done a lot faster. Now, I'm not going to go into too much depth about the discussion of Node and all its different parts, but I will kind of throw out some terms like NPM, asynchronous, packages, file system, just to name a few. There's different things that's needed to be able to use Node.js and things that you need to kind of look into if you want to understand more about it. And I'll throw out some resources. So this is going to be a quick rundown on how the code works and how will it achieve this process quickly. Something that will take hours to do, potentially. It can take minutes or seconds to do. So with the further ado, I'm going to go through this code, and what I want to do is scroll to the top, and first of all, this by saying there is a dependency that needs to be installed called image downloader. I'm going to toggle to that particular resource page. This is a package in Node, in npm, and it needs to be installed in order to be able to download these images in this capacity. Now, the usage of how they kind of define, like the simple approach of downloading a simple image, that was my basis for how I built up this source code to allow it to download multiple images. So you'll start to see how clever this process is, and also some considerations I had to take when I ran into this particular scenario with images being the same name in each path. If the names of the images are 01.jpg, 02.jpg, 03.jpg, then this becomes a lot easier to do. There's no need to rename anything. What I'm going to be doing is doing some inline renaming of the file when it gets downloaded. And you're going to see how clever this is when I do it. When I toggle through this, I just want to tell you that this of this is to preserve these names of these devices in the image name that is saved for each device. The URLs, the way they work is when you feed them into this function called capture image from URL. I'm using an array here called page URL array, and I'm basically doing a for loop to loop through all of the different records, all of the different items in each array. Now you'll see there's two versions of this that I've done. The top version was the original one where, I just grabbed the URL, and of course when I did that, I quickly discovered that they were all the same name, so that's not what I want to use. I don't want to prefix these with a 01 or 02 or anything. I want to actually tell what the identity of each is. So I've created a multi-dimensional array, and then I use the ability to target the different items in the multi-dimensional array to help me pull out the URL. In this case, this nested array is pretty easy to pull out the information. We have the device name in one area, and then we have the URL in the second one, and there's multiple items of these in this larger array. So it's a nested array, and what we want to do is we want to use the for loop and set timeout to give it enough time. 2 seconds is enough for this situation because these are smaller images. If they were bigger images, you probably would want to use, something like 10 seconds or 8 seconds or something like that to give it time, maybe even 15 seconds, depending on how large the image is. And of course, 2 seconds in milliseconds is 2,000 milliseconds. So when this is called, when this is fed in like this, it calls this function below. And you can see here where I've commented out the original code looks more like this. The download of an image and then using a promise. And you can read more about promises and async awaits, callbacks and things like that. Basically, there's a lot to know about this, and it just requires understanding the different nuances of each different thing. So this is a good resource to kind of look into if you were to get better understanding of it. But I'm not going to look at that right now. I'm just going to share what the code looks like. So basically, I went with the async function because it seems more readable, more clarity to it. I defined the destination where these images were to be downloaded. And then, of course, here is where I set up a file name variable to basically capture what the actual device name is from this array. And you can see the difference between these. You have, when you're trying to pull in the URL, you use this type of format. But when you're trying to pull in the device ID or name, you're going to use this. And so this pulls it in to here, and then this is inline substitution to basically replace this name that's originally being called for each of these files. As you can see here, they're all going to get named specifically the device that they represent. As you see to the left, each one has a different device. So you can see how useful this is. And not only that, but I'm using a file rename successfully ID message. So when I loop through this, I'm going to basically clear this out, and I'm going to hit enter. And you can see how it populates that folder. And if there were 1,000 of these images to be downloaded, this would run through it in 500, let's see, 1,000, it would be 2,000 seconds. So So you can imagine downloading this 1,000 images. How long would that take you to manually right click? Like, just imagine right clicking something and having to hit save as and save it. It would take you quite a bit longer than 500 seconds. I'm sorry, do the math on that. 2,000 seconds divided by 60 is 33 minutes. This is not even going to take a minute and a half. It's not going to even take 90 seconds. It's going to take more like 80 seconds because there's 40 images here and there's a 2-second delay between the image, each image being saved. So if you have 1,000, that's significantly more than 40, but still something that can be done in roughly half an hour. So I hope this has been beneficial, and that's all for now.